Hey everybody, this is the legendary Harry Denton. I just found out my friend died. He died Monday. My other friend Tommy Bonk told me in a conversation today. I'm devastated. Harry Denton was a big part of my nightlife experience in the Bay Area. From 1997 to, I think the last time I saw him was, 2012? And then I understand later he had a stroke and was sadly in convalescence since that point in 2013. But you're going to hear a lot of stories. You read a lot about Harry, and you're going to hear comments about Harry being a great gay San Franciscan. Well, I'm straight. I got to tell you a little secret. I went to Harry Denton's South Side, and if you wondering where that's located, if you ever go to Ozumo today in San Francisco, that's located in Rincon Center. That, for years, was Harry Denton's nightclub. A lavish place, overstuffed couches, great steaks, awesome food, great wine selection, magnificent. A place that I would just simply go after work and hang out. Willie Brown was one of the many notable regulars there. And early on, they would say, well, okay, well, Harry is with his wife, or Harry is here, or Harry is with someone. But all during that time that he was described as having a wife, unbeknownst to me, he was gay. He was the nightclub godfather. And at his place, everybody got a hookup. That's the way the culture was. And he had, I have to say, some of the hottest women I've ever seen as waitresses, which seemed to attract some of the hottest women in San Francisco. I mean, I'd like to think guys like me were the other reason. This is a brief interview I had with my friend at the Richmond Urban AIDS Foundation. Help is on the way in 2008. This is the legendary Harry Denton.
The legendary San Franciscan Harry Denton. Harry, what do you think about this event? It's obviously not your first by chance, is it? No, not at all. I know it can't be.
I've been to several of these, and I have to tell you something. There's a lot of these events, and this one's fun because it's just fantastic entertainment, and everyone's happy about the cause. I mean, I'm not being phony. It's a very good event. Plus, it's just so much fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
Good 2.5 hours of pure entertainment. I just want to be on the stage with them, damn it. But joking, but it's a wonderful event.
Hey, question: you've seen the nightclub scene for years.
Yes.
What has changed about it, in your opinion, in San Francisco?
Well, the best thing about San Francisco, nothing's changed as far as the partying going. The people are still partying here. They always will. I think it's hereditary from the gold dust. I feel very fortunate because there is a recession, and people will cut out dinners before drinks.
That's true.
So I feel fine. I think San Francisco's holding on really well, to be honest. The restaurants are still full, and we have tourists, a lot of Europeans, so I think we're fine, fortunately.
Any legislative change you'd like to see?
Yes, prostitution legalized. I can't believe I said that. I don't mean that. No, I mean that in a good way. The money that they should pay taxes, and nothing wrong with it. And all that stupid money they spend should go for something better.
I want to congratulate you personally because I've been a regular patron of your places for years. I've had a great time and met some of the hottest ladies I've ever met.
Okay. And I'd like to hear nothing better because women rule the nightclub.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
This is my Sunday, August 10th, 2008 blog post. Harry Denton lays down on Fillmore Street, literally. There's Harry. And I wrote, if you had told me that in my evening into very early morning, trying to convince the legendary Harry Denton not to lay down in the middle of the intersection of Fillmore and Greenwich after what he admits was a drunken bender, I'd have to say you were nuts. Well, you weren't. What I saw was the embodiment of old San Francisco in action. Harry Denton's a throwback to the days of a bar called Henry Africa, a Herb Cain, and the 3 martini lunch in Carol Dota. Denton is fun, San Francisco style. What I now understand that to mean is a kind of ultimate freedom we don't see today. And when we do see it, we just don't know what to do. Okay, this is what happened. I decided to visit the Balboa Cafe in San Francisco, by the way, owned partly by my friend, the California Governor Gavin Newsom. Really, because I'm used to the place and thought that the Olympics would be on television and I can watch the games with a crowd that might be yelling, "Go USA," or something like that. But I forgot that it's Saturday night, and the only time one may release such a cheer was in watching someone else neck in public. So when I arrived, the Balboa, as I said, partially owned by San Francisco Mayor Gavin Newsom, was boringly crowded. People in cliques, scores of lovely women. The Olympics were on TV, chatter and laughter, but the same familiar din one hears on a Saturday night at that place. Nothing special. Enter Harry Denton. Harry Denton is a true San Francisco legend. The man the San Francisco Chronicle calls one of the city's most visible bon vivants and a promoter and owner of several successful establishments, from Harry Denton's Southside Bar, which was on Folsom Street in the 80s, to Harry Denton's Bar and Grill on Stewart Street, and Harry Denton's Rouge, and Harry Denton's The Starlight Club atop the St. Francis Hotel. Harry has established himself as a celebrity long ago. He has a list of fans, including me, and a fierce following of people. I think Harry also senses that San Francisco is becoming a little boring. So Harry walks into the Balboa with a couple I've never seen before, goes around to the side bar area, and during greeting us all, I just seen him at the Reef benefit called Help Is On The Way last Sunday. I'm really fucked up. Harry had a lot to drink and was blowing off steam after a reunion of people associated with the late bar Henry Africa. I was happy to see Harry because he's a really nice person who's always ready with a smile or quick wit, and he's got an eye for the ladies, even though he's gay, which is great for me because he points a straight bachelor like me in the right direction. Anyway, I told my friend Lance, one of the bartenders, that we all needed to complete the circle of famous San Francisco night crawlers was Johnny Love. I should repeat that. All we needed to complete the great circle of famous San Francisco night crawlers was Johnny Love. Well, the person I've known since 1990 walked in just 5 brief minutes after I said that. It turned out that Johnny, Harry, and my friend Rick Bailey, famous California rugby player who started the Golden Bear in Oakland with Jerry Fagoni and Tom Harbinger, and sadly passed away 2 months ago at the age of 67. We're all at the Henry Africa reunion and had got a table outside. So, looky there. It's Johnny, Love, Matheny, and Harry Denton. And I was invited to join them. We were all outside, and Harry was in rare form. He was well aware of his condition, saying, "I need to blow off steam." He did. Harry made fun of the lot of us, and just in general was a total riot, occasionally tossing beer bottles to the ground, which refused to shatter. I'm not making this up, lest they ruin the spirit of the proceedings. At that point, it was clear something strangely, weirdly magical was happening, at least to me. Johnny Love sitting on Harry Denton's lap. That's what this is, okay? After a time, not too long, it was time for all of us to leave the Balboa. We went inside for a bit just before closing, and then had a devil of a time getting Harry out. But we did. Then weirdness set in. Johnny walked off with his girlfriend, but without telling Harry or Rick Bailey he was going to return. Harry instead insisted on waiting for Johnny, but eventually realized he wasn't coming back after a long episode of waiting and trying to keep Harry from, well, falling. Since the numbers were reduced to me and Harry and Rick Bailey, I wound up with a task I assumed, which was keeping Harry upright. That was tough. At that point, Harry decided he wanted attention. He said, quote, "I want attention," unquote, and proceeded to try and lay in the middle of the intersection of Fillmore and Greenwich. I successfully stopped him from the act, and as he was nearly hit by a car, but I did this solo. In getting Harry back to the sidewalk, I was livid with the onlookers, many who had taken time to talk to him and give him pats on the back, but would only look at Harry rather than come out and help me with him. At that point, seeing them as part of the shallow and spineless masses that let events like Columbine happen and allow people to be mugged and attacked before their eyes, I collectively gave them my finger. I was pissed. Getting Harry into a limousine was a chore, and I did not succeed at the time, but then Harry elected to try a second stint at laying down on the Fillmore. Only this time, he insisted, and while I grabbed his arm, he fought me off. And as I talked to him about how the police may show up, "I don't care." Harry laid right down on Fillmore. My first thought was expressed to Harry. "Hey, the police are going to get you." Harry didn't care. And sure enough, an SF police cruiser pulled up, and as the officers got out of the car and approached Harry, something nice happened. Other people, not part of the throng I gave my finger to, stepped forward to help me get Harry up. The number of people, about 10, was great enough to convince the police to get back into their car and continue on their way. They did. Harry stood up and held his arms skyward as if to say, "I did it," and the crowd standing on the Fillmore and Greenwich sidewalk erupted into spontaneous applause. It was surreal. Finally, the crowd broke up, and once again, I was tasked with having to get Harry into a limo. But this time, I had help from guys who used to work for him and saw him. We got Harry into a limo and on his way home. Phew. Harry Denton showed me and the crowd what San Francisco is all about. Personal freedom. Laying down on the street was the ultimate act of freedom and fun. Something we used to see in the city when people were less judgmental and information was less fragmented. Don't get me wrong, I love new media, but there's something missing in today's society. It's this watered down PC culture, and while I love that it's less racially insensitive and more diverse than in the past, it's also less just plain fun. It's like everyone's worried about doing something wrong or being accused of doing something wrong by someone else, and certainly not willing to take charge of anything or take action against an injustice. Enter Harry Denton. Harry wanted to have old-fashioned fun, and the people of the city, and even the police, parted the way and let him. It was glorious.
I am here with the world famous Mr. Harry of the Star Life Room. Hi, Harry. How are you?
I'm great, thanks.
We're here this evening at the launch of the American Red Cross Gala. What is your involvement with the American Red Cross?
Well,
Hey, do you host a lot of events here at the Starlight Room, and what does it mean to you to be able to support an organization like this?
What was that?
What does it mean for you to support an organization like this, to be able to host them in your home?
Oh, I love it that you call it my home. I'm really trying to make people feel like they're in my living room. I'm very, very honored. It's great to be able to have this place to do it. And we've got a bad view. And I think people enjoy themselves, so it makes me very happy.
Thank you, Mr. Denton.
Harry Denton was Mr. San Francisco. Really, Harry Denton is Mr. San Francisco. If you ever want a reminder of what one of many great and glorious people, characters that make up San Francisco was like, just watch this video again and again and again, and others too. But I'm thinking of a hard time topping this one. Harry was awesome, and I had some of the best times of my life at his places, hanging out with him. Subscribe to Zenny62 and bookmark oaklandnewsnow.com. Oh, unless you think that Harry Denton's venues were places just for fun, I'll let you in on a little secret, a little story. My friend Kofi Bonner, I go all the way back to grad school at Cal with, got a call from Carmen Policy, who was then forming the new Cleveland Browns. He made him an offer to be his chief administrative officer. The time Kofi and I worked together, always friends, Kofi called me and said, I need your advice regarding whether I should take this. So, we met and had dinner to discuss the decision. That's right. Harry Denton's on Stewart Street. That's where we did it. And yeah, he went and took the job. And I'm not the only person with stories like that. Again, Willie Brown was a heavy regular at Harry Denton's. And if you don't know who Willie Brown is, look up Ayatollah of the Assembly, California.